What happened?
The Order 1886 takes place in an alternate timeline in London where a secret society of knights has battled for centuries to protect humanity from an ancient breed of monsters known as Lycans or half-breeds. Our protagonist is Sir Galahad, who is a knight part of a four-man team of the Order who is investigating the actions of a newly developed band of rebels who seem to have some sort of connection with the half-breeds. As the game progresses, you'll learn that not everything is as it seems within the Order itself or with the rebels, and it is up to Sir Galahad to discover the truth no matter what the cost. Although the Order has a rich narrative which opens the door to a lot of very interesting storytelling ideas, it seems as if the writers were more interested in building the foundation to a much bigger story than they were in putting in the effort to telling a completely satisfying story here. Plot points are left unanswered and meant to be answered at a different time, character motivations are made unclear, and outside of Sir Galahad, we really don't spend enough time with your teammates, or anyone for that matter, for any other characters to really feel fleshed out. And the Lycans, which to me are the best story element of this game, are hardly mentioned. You literally could remove them completely for the game and you would not even notice their absence. I'm really not sure exactly what happened here, but by the end I felt as if large sections of the game's plotline were stripped out for the sole purpose of setting up future DLC or future installments, and to me, that is the worst kind of teasing for what could have been a truly memorable story. The gameplay to the Order 1886 is divided into three different departments: exploration, shooting, and quicktime events. For a good portion of the game, you will spend it simply walking from one shootout area to the next, and while doing so, you can explore the vastness of the environments. Throughout each of the 16 chapters, you will encounter many unique items of interest which you can pick up and inspect, but unfortunately, none of these items are of any real importance and will do nothing more but give you little to no information on past or current events that have taken place within the realm of the Order. The second department are the shootouts, and for the most part, the Order 1886 plays out as a single-player-only third-person cover-based shooter reminiscent of games like Uncharted or The Last of Us. The shooting mechanic here is good, but it lacks a great sense of creativity. There is a good selection of weapons ranging from pistols, rifles, shotguns, and grenades, but nothing special. However, two weapons that really stand out are the arc rifle, which can fire bolts of electricity, and the thermite gun, which can fire bullets of gas around enemies, in which you can then fire off a flare to set your enemies on fire. Unfortunately, outside of a few pre-planned cutscene moments, you will hardly get to use these two weapons. One of the most essential additions to the combat system here is the use of the black water. Whenever you take too much damage, if you can manage to stay alive long enough and get into cover, you can use the black water to automatically heal yourself. The second use of it is that if you kill enough enemies within a certain area, you can use an ability known as Black Sight, which allows you to slow down time and gun down all the enemies within your line of sight, allowing you to clear an area of enemies fairly quickly. Finally, there is the addition of the QuickTime events, and trust me when I say this, but they are spread all throughout the Order 1886 to the point where I personally felt that they were being a bit overused. From my own personal experience of QuickTime events in other video games, they are mostly best used to keep the players on their toes when nothing is happening on the screen. But in a game like this that is so cinematic, it can sometimes make it really hard to know where the cutscene ends and the actual gameplay begins. The boss fights in this game are few and disappointing, and they play out exactly the same and are nothing more but extended QuickTime events which require you to press the attack button once, then move the right analog stick in the right direction to avoid being hit. Now, one of the most controversial elements of the Order 1886 is its game length, and for me, even when playing on the hardest difficulty and taking time to find some of the exploration items, it took me around 6.5 hours to finish the game on my first playthrough. However, your own game length may vary depending on your own personal skill level with cover-based shooters. You might be able to gain a few extra hours out of the Order 1886 if you plan to go back and get all the trophies, as I plan to do, but other than that, there really is not a serious reason to go back and replay this single-player experience. The Order 1886's strongest elements are its cinematic style, its visuals, and its attention to detail. The transition between gameplay and cutscenes is completely flawless, and for a game only running at 30 frames per second, it is undoubtedly the best looking PlayStation 4 exclusive title to date. The development team at Ready Dawn Studios did a fantastic job in creating atmospheres that have so much detail to them that you can easily get lost in Order of 1886's world simply from exploring. Each individual level does an amazing job of setting the mood for each particular chapter, giving the player a feeling of dread and mystery. You will explore multiple different areas that look truly amazing, from the Order's headquarters in the beginning, to the streets of London, to an abandoned basement filled with the corpses of Lycan victims. Textures and lighting are very well handled, and even the voice acting and performances of all the characters are top notch, to the point where it can rival even the very best that this industry has to offer. The musical score also does a really great job of adding a sense of adventure and tension at the proper moments, and even the background music, when it completely cuts out, adds a sense of terror on what's about to happen on the screen. If there's any one reason for someone to play the Order of 1886, it is simply to experience the sheer amount of depth that the Order gives to its environments, and future AAA titles should really take a note, as this is a clear example of how to build a strong foundation for the player to explore to gain a sense of true adventure for the current generation of PlayStation exclusives.
The Order 1886 is not at all a bad game. It's a very ambitious game that really has a lot of really creative ideas. I just feel that the developers at Ready Dawn Studios were more focused on wanting to create a more visualized and stylized looking game than they were with actually creating a truly new, memorable new IP for the PlayStation franchise. I mean, for a game that has no co-op, no multiplayer, and really a serious lack of replayability, this game's greatest strength had to at least be its story, and that's the one thing it just does not have. Its strength is in its visual aesthetics and its atmosphere, not the actual story itself. The gameplay we've seen done better in other games of the PlayStation library, and I just feel that a large parts of this game were just taken out for future installments. Now, look, in my opinion, this is not at all a full price game. In fact, if you are going to plan on getting this game, I would recommend that you would wait a few months to a year until the price for this game drops, then pick it up. I mean, I do believe that this is really the beginning of something great, but on its own, it just does not stand out on its own as a great game. It's maybe a rental at best. If I had to give this game a rating, I will have to give the Order 1886, just being nice for a long-term PlayStation gamer like myself, a 7 out of 10. It's a solid, good game. It's a very ambitious game, but it just never really reaches its true potential. Now, if you like this game review, feel free to like, comment down below, and please subscribe to track me in my future movie and video game reviews. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I'll see you next time.